Okay, hi everybody and welcome back to the stream. I've decided after putting those captions on at the front to do a voiceover on top of this video just to explain, because when I recorded my voice I was behind the camera and I did this on the iPhone and it hasn't recorded my voice very well. So what you see here is the old house being demolished very slowly. The reason for the demolition is to reuse all the materials that we can get out of the house. The rebar that's in the walls we can remove and reuse. We're going to be using those beams, the wooden beams that you see there. We'll be reusing them. We can't reuse the hollow block, obviously they'll be destroyed. We've already, or we will be removing the door jambs as well, which are basically the door frames. We can reuse them. And we're transferring them all down to the new house, which is where I'm pointing my finger there. So all the materials we're going to save, the sheets on the roof, the corrugated sheets, and all the wood in the roof. There's Clyde, sheltering from the rain with the next door neighbour. And you can hear a little bit of conversation now.
I've just called you the manager.
Engineer boy.
Right, you're the engineer.
I have a helmet.
So what am I then? The architect, the financier.
It can be.
And our next door neighbour.
And back to the demolition, we've got a little bit more done. All the walls have been demolished. That's the back of the house, or the corner, the back corner has already been done. And here's Clyde having a bash at knocking down the walls with the hammer. It's actually not as easy as it looks. It takes a lot of strength. And she's doing good though. Just remind me not to get on her wrong side when she's got a hammer in her hand. She's quite good with that hammer.
If we ever do.
Hello.
Oh, two hands now. Oh. Now we're doing some.
Now the jacket's off. Of course, all the shots that I take, I'm behind the camera, so I'm not using the hammer. So it looks like Clyde's doing all the work. These guys are really good hard workers. They're constantly bashing away at the walls. And a little bit further on in the video now, or in the day I should say,
Just a quick explanation.
exposing the beams, all the rebar which we're going to reuse.
Rebar, which we're going to use again. So we're building another house, like we said, and we're going to reuse the rebar. These wooden pillars will be able to use, and also all the wood in the roof and the corrugated iron. The sheets they call them. But obviously we can't save the brickwork, or the hollow block as we call it. job getting there. This is one day's work. If I move around here to the side, it's just 3 complete walls and 2 half walls to do. And a little bit at the very back here. And then we're done. We should complete that tomorrow. Quite a job. You probably wonder every time that I show the video that Clyde is hitting the wall with a hammer. That's because it's normally me doing it, and when I come to film a bit, she grabs the hammer. Trust me, I am working. If I turn the camera around, if I can, I've turned white again with all the dust. Ooh, I have my finger in front of the lens there. Anyway, that's a little update. Okay.
Okay, so here is the new lot, just a couple hundred yards away. What you're seeing there is the lot that's already been cleared of the weeds. That's one corner that you can see in the top right hand corner of the screen. And you'll see Clyde standing there in a second. That's where the other corner is. And it extends the way we're looking to the left, where I'm pointing now. And that's about 21 metres to the left, 14 metres from where Clyde is to the right. And it's more or less square at that, or a big rectangle I should say, but it's not quite. They're a little bit, they're not two rectangles, they're, one of them's got quite a slope to it, which you'll see more clearly shortly. But that's all been cleared, ready for marking out the edges. And the house will be built in this area that you can see on the screen now. And later on in the video you'll see that progress for the start. The structure on the left hand side you can see is a little bank house, which was already there when we bought the lot. But it's in the way, so we're going to have to move it. The other lot, which I will show you in a second, is from the corner there, which I'll be pointing to there, which is the back wall, if you like, 21 metres, and then to the right, where I'm pointing.
21 metres this way, so they're not exactly rectangular.
To the corner there is 21 metres.
And the house, if I come out
here, so it's roughly 21 by 21 by 14.
Here. This will
if you
be
take that as a
corner of the house,
sort of square-ish
just about here where my foot is.
plot of land. That's the bank house. We'll be moving that over to the right-hand side next to the other white one. That area will be the garden. Everything to the right will be the garden, and the house is coming out to roughly where my foot is there, including the terrace.
It would be further back. We've measured it out roughly. We're getting ready now to stake it out more accurately. That's what we're doing. So this is the construction of the new house.
So that's practically it for day one. There's the carpenters, or the builders as we would call them, just sort of measuring things out based on my plans.
So there's not much filling to do.
I'm just measuring them out in their own mind at the moment. I've told them what I want, and they're just sort of trying to visualise it.
Here is because if you look at that soil just there.
And now I'm explaining about why we're having to rebuild the house. I've just pointed to where the pylons are going to be for electric cables. And the cables will go from there. It's behind that tree, it's quite far away. And then over the top of the buildings that you see beyond the tree there, that's where our house is, what I'm pointing at now. So the cables are going more or less over the top, which is why we've had to demolish the house, because we've had what we would call a compulsory purchase made on that property, because they want to put these high voltage cables over the top. So we've been paid compensation for the cost to build the house to what you saw it before the demolition. And now we're allowed to
Almost
demolish
exactly
the house
what it
ourselves
cost to
and
build.
reuse any materials that we want to,
But there's still
even though we've been paid for them.
that's what going on about how it's built.
So that's the stage we're at the moment.
I'll update more details when all that's done. So,
We're still awaiting a refund
are.
for the cost of the
This
land
is
that we
where
built
the
on,
new house
but
is gonna be.
that's on the cards and it's
I'll,
in progress.
Update more when I know about it.
A quick look at our neighbours now. We've got two guys up here, one guy, sorry, with two lots just for farming. I'll lift the camera up in a second and you can see he's growing vegetables in there.
Some vegetables in there. This guy is growing vegetables.
Behind the white fence is another guy doing the same, just growing vegetables for his own use, I think.
That one was
And then there's a couple of buildings, one there
Nobody's-
and then one in the corner.
I don't think anybody.
That's our closest living neighbours, if you like.
Occupied, and it's finished quite nicely. We haven't met them yet, really.
And then
This one, no
turning
idea what
round,
this house is business.
there's another couple of properties there. This is where I stumble.
Here. Oh, ow.
There's a couple of properties there that
But it's quiet here.
we don't know what's happening with those. They look like they've been started and not finished.
Trust me, a good thing.
So that's it. Now we're into day two,
Three, although it's been a
where
couple of
the
days since
outlying area of the house to be built has been marked out, and the carpenters are now starting to
foundations.
dig the foundations for the concrete pillars, which will be going in the corners.
So the wooden frames, is the outside.
There's a total of 12 strong pillars with the deep foundations and 4 which will not be quite so strong for the internal parts of the house.
There's Clyde not doing very much.
And there's Clyde. I'll let you listen into this conversation.
Just sitting watching everybody.
Uy! I was doing a lot this morning.
Yes, I know.
Oh, I know.
So what do you think of the prospect of our new house?
Thinking of you, Mr. Pool.
Thinking of me? How do you mean you're thinking of me?
And what was the question again?
What do you think of your new house so far?
So far it's good, exciting. Regardless of the weather.
Regardless of the weather. Yeah, for 2 days we've not been able to do anything. So yeah, anyway, the layout of the house. It's one corner there, and the other corner there, and it comes out to here, including the terrace. It'll come out to roughly where this post is here. So the actual wall of the house will be here somewhere, and then this will be the terrace. And I have 2 sloping roofs, one for the terrace and one for the main house. This bank house here, we've got it almost ready. It's going to be lifted up and then moved over to that corner, which I think I've mentioned before. The old house, all that's left, if I point there, in the distance you can see all that's left is the roof. And that's where I'll go next, take a little bit of video up there. Oh, here is a final.
So more or less the final look at the demolition of
all the walls have been demolished.
the old house.
Rebar, usable
This
rebar,
is it.
taken
All the
off.
walls completely
Some of these
demolished now,
walls.
exposing all the rebar, which has mostly been taken away. We've got some bits to cut
These
there.
beams will be
These beams will come out obviously once the roof has been demolished or taken apart.
so just the roof.
Because we can use all that wood again because it's all brand new, and we can use all the corrugated sheets on the roof as well. So we'll be reclaiming all that. We've just pointed out the door jambs, which have all been removed obviously as well.
Yeah, and one there.
So bye bye old house.
Bank house to call it, at the back
Started
there.
construction the end of July and finished just at the end of September
Corrugated.
when we had to stop building.
Same as the stuff that's on the roof. That was the spare stuff that was kept. So that will be used again. And all this wood here, which has been part buried with all the rubble, but all this will be moved down and used on the new house. All this will be staying here, it's no use, it's surplus soil. We might use some of it. We are getting a digger, we're renting a digger for the day, just to dig up the land where the garden's going to be. That'll be the later stage. And if we need this rubble, then we can collect some then. So this is probably the last you'll see of the old house. What we leave behind will be demolished by the electric company. So we're demolishing it first and taking away all the useful stuff before they get their hands on it. So there we go, and there's the new house. Yeah.
Okay, day 3 out of 5. We lost 2 days because of the severe rains that we had. Really severe low pressure came right across the Philippines. That's one of the big stones that we had to deal with, and we've had to deal with big stones like this on almost every foundation hole so far, apart from a couple. So this is the day 3, actually day 5, but day 3 of actual work being done, and really big foundations being done for the pillars. It'll be concrete pillars this time, not wooden ones.
This is very busy, hard work.
And it's hard work for some people. Oh, look at that. Poor Clyde. Here's Jerome, our head builder, if you like, or head carpenter, cutting up the rebar in the right lengths to form the framework to go inside the pillars, the concrete pillars. More digging going on for the foundations, more stones being brought out. It's really hard work with all those stones. Here's Clyde trying her hand at cutting up the rebar. She actually did quite a good job. Although, well, supposed to use the original one for measuring, but she used each one after cutting it. But I don't suppose it has to be 100% accurate. You're supposed to you just cut that one, she's using that to measure the next one, which is okay, but over time that can change the length. But I don't think it has to be that accurate. But she's doing a good job.
You're supposed to use the original one for measuring, babe.
Yeah, this is the original one.
Is it? That's the one you've just cut.